Last week, we were skeptical, to say the least, about whether the sanctions imposed on Russia and Vladimir Putin as a response to their invasion of the Crimean Peninsula of Ukraine would have any effect. And we kind of were wishy-washy on it. I said, on the one hand, I don't know that it will have any practical impact in the sense that individual businesses will really still be able to do business with Russia. At the same time, we know that because of Vladimir Putin's personality and his desire to have Russia considered an equivalent superpower to many other countries in the world, that it would certainly, at least at a personal level, be something that doesn't please him, to say the least, to be understated. And as it turns out, it did lead to Vladimir Putin calling President Obama and proposing a settlement, saying, maybe we should work something out here. According to a readout of the call, which was provided by the White House, President Putin called President Obama to discuss the U.S. proposal for a diplomatic resolution to the crisis in Ukraine, which Secretary Kerry had again presented to Foreign Minister Lavrov at the meeting at The Hague earlier in the week. And President Obama noted that the Ukrainian government continues to take a restrained and de-escalatory approach to the crisis and is moving ahead with constitutional reform and democratic elections, and is saying, it may be a good idea for Russia to support this process and avoid further provocations, including building up forces on the border with Ukraine. According to the White House, President Obama also underscored to President Putin that the United States continues to support a diplomatic path in close consultation with the government of Ukraine and in support of the Ukrainian people with the aim of de-escalation of the crisis. Bloomberg reported that the sanctions are pushing Russia's economy towards a recession and that current sanctions will already hurt Russia's economic growth for 2 quarters. Now, we saw many Republicans say, President Obama is being weak. As usual, President Obama is completely flaccid in his attempts here to use sanctions and so on and so forth to do anything to Vladimir Putin. And it's so funny, Lewis, because every time we hear this, immediately when it turns out that that's not true, actually Vladimir Putin was affected by the sanctions, either directly or simply as an attack on his ego, and he called President Obama, Republicans will find some way to still back up their criticism. They'll say, well, look at how long it's taken for Vladimir Putin to finally call President Obama. There will always be a response from the right in order to criticize President Obama for whatever he does.
Yeah, or they'll just completely deny that it was the sanctions at all and say, well, this was really just about international pressure and, and caving into that.
And let's not start throwing bouquets at Vladimir Putin, right? He still has about 50,000 troops sitting on the Ukrainian border. And one of the things that this crisis has shown us is that you can't just believe Vladimir Putin no matter what he says. So this is not a praise or criticism of President Obama or of anybody else. But he being Vladimir Putin did call President Obama. It seems that he wants to release some of the tension caused by these sanctions. But just because Vladimir Putin said something doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. We need to wait and actually see.
Right. Yeah. We will see what happens. Curious to see what happens with this now annexed peninsula region. But I don't know. I hope this resolves with that being returned to the country it belonged to.